Finally, it's over. I cannot take any more of this. It's just so uninteresting. Meghan's final episode is a little bit of a clapback in terms of the title of the episode. It's "A High Tide Raises All Ships." Remember, she messed that phrase up previously in an interview. She said something, she messed it up bad. She used boats instead of ships, and I don't remember what else she did wrong, but I remember she fumbled the phrase. So, of course, she titles the finale, hopefully the last episode we ever have to endure, of a With Love Meghan season. Apparently we have a Christmas special to look forward to, but that's a discussion for a different day. She begins this episode contradicting herself in a classic Meg move, a huge missed opportunity as well. In her episode with the Shettys, she said that she was intimidated by hosting a large group when they revealed that they had a game night every Friday that could be upwards of 40 people at times. But in this episode, she says that she and Jose both like hosting a large crowd. Which is it, Meghan? 'Cause it can't be both. This is why people think she's inauthentic, because she says whatever works in the moment with the person that she's around. As she goes to hunt down some special wine for the occasion, one cannot help but wonder why she did not use her own wine. Oh yeah, she didn't have any of her products ready when this was filmed over a year ago. And it's not tasty, apparently. Anywho, they rely heavily on intense music throughout this series, including this episode. It just overwhelms. It doesn't create the mood that she's going for. It feels like way too much, and it feels like it's fighting against whatever's happening in the episode. Because everything happening in the episode is so beige, blah, boring, toned down, that when there is a more lively tune playing, it feels completely out of place. And this episode is no exception. As with the entire show, both parts, season 1 and season 2, the guests who are chefs or used to being on TV, like Chrissy and Tan, for example, carry the episode because they're the only ones with charisma and energy and expertise, and each time the camera or the focus turns back to Meghan, it breaks the pace and dampens it back down. And it happens often because obviously it's Meghan's show. But the Meg lacks everything needed to make a show like this work. She's not teaching the viewer anything, she's not engaging the audience, she's not charismatic, and she's not particularly interesting on her own, and she's not presenting interesting content either. And also, when the people are there, like the chefs, like in this one, Jose, is doing stuff, he is just doing it, and she's just kind of watching and hanging out while he does the stuff. She's not getting involved in a way that's like, teach me how to do this, let me try to do this, in a teacher-student sort of a dynamic where you're really involved. And that can be fun to watch at times, but it's not like that either, because she's much more concerned with sipping her wine or her champagne or whatever it is that she's drinking and staying off to the side and just kind of wiping off the edge of the plates. That's what she spends more time doing, or fondling grapes, you know? She's arranging things and cleaning the plates. She's not doing much. She's like the expo person for the show. Therefore, part 2, as we have finished it in the finale year, suffers from the same problems that part 1 did, helped only marginally by the heavy post-production editing and voiceovers. But the bulk of the content is the same. The boring level did not change. It was not enough to salvage the show as a whole, and the reviews reflect that. No one liked it, once again. The format she chose for the show for both seasons, filmed all at once, one season, 2 parts would have been more accurate. Anyway, the format required, demanded, begged for an entertaining host, one who was fun to watch, not plainly boring and self-absorbed. She cooks for the crew with Jose in this episode, but by the looks of it, it's certainly not 80 people. When she toasted to them, it was a bit awkward. They were decidedly less enthused than she was, but also she said across 2 seasons. We've worked together across 2 seasons. Perhaps that's what threw them off, because they did film it all at once, so maybe they were like, what do you mean 2 seasons? We just filmed all these at once. Stop trying to pull a fast one on everyone, Meghan, all the time. It's silly to talk about it as 2 seasons that you filmed all at once, especially to the people who were there. But they didn't respond in the way that you would think. They weren't like, yay, Meghan, we love you. They were just kind of like, we're going to eat this food and bounce. As a whole, the potential to have the show tied to the As Ever products to play off each other, to boost viewership, as well as sales, still didn't really work out in this batch, this part 2, season 2 batch of 8 episodes, because it was filmed over a year ago, and therefore, just like part 1, she didn't have the products available to have in hand for these 8 episodes. Even though there's products available for sale on the website, still has not sold out as of filming, the episodes still don't feature those products. So the boat was missed again. The whole point to try to boost those sales would have been for her to be holding a product that a customer then can buy the same time as watching the TV show. And that's the only way that that concept really works, is having it in the hands while filming, showing it, using it, incorporating it into the recipes, and having it for sale at the same time that people are watching it. Otherwise, you lose all that potential momentum. It becomes kind of a pointless afterthought. And circling back to the lack of sales here, this is indicative of that false precedent syndrome that we have discussed. Sales had an initial spike and peak due to critics purchasing the items to make reviews. People were buying the As Ever products during the first handful of drops, specifically to review it. That was a big percentage of those purchases. She also had such a limited quantity available that it carried over across 2 of those drops, the spring drops. As well, of course, I'm sure, a handful of morbidly curious, but that does not translate into long-term demand. Equally as problematic is the quality and taste. People mostly didn't care for the products. They were unexceptional or plainly not tasty, and therefore they do not have a great enough percentage of repeat customers to translate into a consistent demand either. So now she's in a space where she has scaled for what was inflated for journalistic purposes. And anybody who did give it a try and didn't like it is not likely to come back and re-buy. And any potential boost to sales that she would have gotten from this season 2 was squandered because those products still are not being seen in the TV show. It's a mess. But also notably at this particular point, With Love Meghan season 2 has not made it into the top 10 on Netflix. At the time of filming this video, it has not performed even as well as the first one did. And the first one, the first season, only made it to number 383 on the watch list. This hasn't even hit the top 10. So it's not boding well. Looks like a downhill. Which just means that the show suffered from the same problem that the products with As Ever did. The initial interest was made up of those morbidly curious and a large percentage of reviewers and critics. That's who was tuning in to season 1. Once they've written their piece, it quickly becomes old news. While a lot of journalists and publications still put out reviews for season 2, there were fewer. And those that did come out were less detailed because we've been here before. We all know that it was filmed at once. We knew it would largely be more of the same, and therefore it's not enough interest to fuel huge numbers of people tuning in to check it out or give it a chance or write a review for season 2. And those who maybe did give it a fair go in season 1, most of them already figured out that they didn't like the show when season 1 aired. So they are not coming back to give season 2 a try. To put it into even sharper focus, the performance, inflated as it was the first go-round, still wasn't that impressive. It fell out of the top 10 very quickly, it didn't crack the top 300 most watched shows, and here we are, not even hitting the top 10 this time around for season 2. So both the products of As Ever and the show With Love Meghan, the initial buzz when season 1 and the first couple of batches of products came out was almost all made up of people who were going to do reviews and bought it or watched it to make reviews for their jobs. People who were maybe giving it a fair chance and decided it wasn't their cup of tea and they didn't care for the products, they didn't care for the content, and will not be coming back. Or it was people who were just morbidly curious, tried it, hated it, moved on. There is clearly not a growth to the audience or consumer base. That is evident at this point, or we would have seen impressive numbers, impressive sales being boasted by Meghan and her team, impressive viewership. It would have been in the top 10 by now, but it's not. But what did you think of the series? Do you think that this whole With Love Meghan series really was... Do you agree with me that it was Meghan's version of doing a reality TV show about herself and that's why it's not working, why there's no substance? Because she really, at the end of the day, her intentions, her true desires were just to feel like she had a reality show? Or do you think it's something else? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this series. You can catch up on all the other videos about her product and her show on this playlist here. I hope you have a happy day ahead and I will see you next time. Bye.